"Ma'am, you need to calm down, or we'll have to restrain you," the man in scrubs barked, his voice sharp as his fingers dug into my arm. My pulse hammered in my chest. A frantic drumbeat as I twisted against his grip. Panic clawed its way up my throat. "What is this? Why are you doing this to me?" I screamed, my eyes darting around the room, desperate for a glimpse of Ethan, my husband, my anchor, or anyone who could make sense of this madness. But all I saw were blank, icy stares. Strangers dragging me from my own home like I was some dangerous fugitive. "My name is Emily Carter. I'm 32, and just weeks ago I thought the worst pain I'd ever face was burying my father. Daniel Carter, after his plane went down in a fiery wreck. He was my rock, my hero, the only family I had left. But that morning, as they shoved me into an unmarked van and sped me toward some unknown hell, I realized my nightmare was only beginning. Ethan, the man I'd trusted with my soul, was nowhere to be found. The ride stretched on endlessly, or maybe it just felt that way, time warped by the terror flooding my veins. The van reeked of bleach, its engine's low hum the only sound as I begged for answers. No one spoke. When we finally stopped, the door swung open to reveal a towering, sinister building, its high fence looming like a prison wall. A shiver raced down my spine as they hauled me inside, their hands clamping my arms as if I'd bolt. The place oozed wrongness, beige walls that sucked the life out of you, a stale mix of chemicals and something rancid hanging in the air. People in white coats bustled past, their eyes sliding over me like I was invisible. "What is this place? Why am I here?" I demanded, my voice splintering. No one answered. Instead, they thrust a drab set of clothes at me and ordered me to change. Then a tall man in a pristine white coat strode up, his calm demeanor chillingly at odds with the chaos in my head. "Miss Carter." "I'm Dr. James Keller," he said, offering a hand I refused to take. "I'm the director here, and I assure you you're safe." His voice was smooth, almost hypnotic, but his eyes were cold as steel. "Safe?" I felt like a caged animal. "What is this place?" I snapped, trembling. He sighed like my fear was some tiresome routine. "I know you're confused, Emily, but this is for your own good. Your husband's been deeply worried about you since your father's death." "Ethan?" My blood turned to ice. This wasn't worry, this was a knife in my back. Not long ago, my life was a dream. A doting husband, a gorgeous home, the kind of stability people envied. My dad, Daniel, had raised me alone after Mom died when I was a kid. He was my everything, tough, brilliant. The heart of our family. Then came the call that shattered it all. I was mid-sentence, planning a fundraiser for one of his charities, when my phone buzzed. "Miss Carter, we regret to inform you." The words blurred as my legs gave out. "Plane crash. No survivors. My hero gone in an instant." At the funeral, Ethan stood beside me, his mother, Margaret, clutching my hand with crocodile tears in her eyes. Her grip was too tight, too deliberate, but I was too drowned in grief to notice. Then came the will reading, a cold, clinical affair. "Emily, you're the sole heir to your father's estate," the lawyer said. The Carter Industries empire, steel, properties, investments, dropped into my lap like a lead weight. I barely had time to mourn before I was shoved into a world of boardrooms and decisions I never wanted. Now I sat in a sterile room, fluorescent lights buzzing like a swarm of wasps overhead. "Dr. Keller's words looped in my mind. For your own good." Ethan's worried. Worried. He'd never hinted at this. Every plea for answers got the same hollow reply. "It's in your best interest." My best interest was being locked in this beige purgatory, cut off from the world? They forced pills down my throat to relax me, and soon my body felt like it was sinking into mud. My thoughts fraying at the edges. When I woke, the silence hit me first, hollow, suffocating. My eyes cracked open to a stark white cell, a narrow bed, a steel chair, nothing else. No windows. No clock, just a void designed to strip you bare. My head pounded, my mouth dry as dust. I stumbled to my feet, weak as a newborn, and pounded the walls. "Let me out," I screamed, my fists stinging with every blow. "What is this place?" The door creaked open, and a nurse with a blank face jabbed a syringe into my arm before I could fight. The room tilted, and darkness swallowed me again. Weeks blurred into a drugged haze, too, I learned later from an overheard whisper. I drifted in and out, a shell of myself, the fire that once defined me smothered by sedatives. My dreams twisted with Ethan's face taunting me. Was he real or just a ghost my mind refused to let go? Each time I surfaced, I felt heavier, like I was drowning in quicksand. I wasn't living, I was barely existing. Then came Lily. She appeared in the common room one day, her sharp eyes cutting through the fog. "This isn't just a psych ward," she whispered, leaning close. "People end up here when someone wants them gone. You're not the first." My gut twisted. "What do you mean?" I croaked. She smirked, dark hair falling over her face. "You can trust me and get out or rot here. Your call." Trouble or not, she was my lifeline. Lily had escaped before, caught each time. But she knew the cracks in this place. "The new guards are sloppy," she said, her voice low as we plodded over watery soup. "Night shifts are shot." We mapped it out. Stolen key card, distraction. Maintenance door. 2 nights later, my heart thundered as Lily toppled a cart. Chaos erupting. I slipped into the hall, legs shaking but fueled by adrenaline. We made it to the wall when the guards shouted, "Stop them." Lily swung a plank, buying me time. "Go," she yelled. I clawed over the concrete, tumbling to freedom as she faced them down. I was out, but she wasn't. For 2 days, I hid in shadows, jumping at every sound. The streets were a different cage, cold, relentless. I scavenged change. Humiliation burning as I dialed Carter Industries from a payphone. "This is Anna Blake, an old friend of Michael Reed," I lied. When Michael's voice came through, steady, familiar, I nearly broke. "Michael, it's me, Emily." A pause. "Emily? Where are you?" "I can't say. I need help. They locked me up, Ethan and Margaret. Please." He didn't hesitate long. "Meet me. Alone. At dusk." I watched Michael from behind a tree in the park, then stepped out. His face paled. "Emily, what happened to you?" We sat on a secluded bench. "They took everything," I said, voice shaking. "After Dad died, Ethan and Margaret had me committed, drugged, trapped. They vanished after." Michael's jaw tightened. "Why?" "I don't know. The inheritance, maybe. I need you to help me find out." He nodded. "You're safe with me. I've got a place outside town. We'll figure this out." The next morning, his quiet cabin felt like a lifeline. He returned with groceries and a plan. "I've got a PI friend, David Walsh. He's on it." A week later, David arrived, his briefcase spilling evidence. Fake psych reports, bribed judges, payments to Dr. Keller. Ethan paid $250. "000 to keep you sedated," he said, sliding a photo of Ethan with Keller. Margaret orchestrated it, control of Carter Industries was the prize. My hands shook. They'd buried me alive for greed. "We've got them," Michael said. "The cops have this. They're done." Relief hit, but so did fury. I called Ethan, my voice ice. "It's over." He fumbled. "Emily, I was worried." "Save it. I know everything, the lies, the bribes." His mask cracked. "I didn't mean. You erased me," I spat. "You and Margaret. It's done." He begged, but I hung up. The next day, I watched police swarm our old mansion. Ethan screamed my name, cuffed and desperate. Margaret stayed stone cold, her pride a mask. As they were hauled away, I turned and walked off. They tried to break me, but I'd risen. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe.